All right, welcome back to the channel. So today we're with basically no stranger to anyone in BMW CCA, Tom Plucinsky, head now of BMW Group Classic USA.
Correct.
Got it.
Exactly.
Right. So you've been with BMW for quite some time. So what's the origin story for Tom and BMW?
Oh boy. I've been with the company for going on 37 years, just shy of 37 at the moment. So I started on June 25th, 1989, and probably before many of your viewers were born. But
I don't know about that. You see the CCA memberships, right? Some of them for sure.
Okay, some of them for sure. I'm an engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer by education. I started my career at Ford of Canada, straight out of school, and I spent about 4 years there before I decided that I didn't quite fit. So
interesting.
Yeah, and to give you an indication for the younger viewers, look up Merkur XR4 Ti. All right, that was something that Ford tried. It was a Ford of Europe vehicle. And I loved those things. They were engineered in Germany. They drove really nicely, and I liked them. But I was in a minority, a very small minority at Ford. So I figured, okay, maybe I don't quite fit. And one of my jobs, I was calling on dealers as a service manager,
right,
in Midwest of Canada. And one of my dealers took a Porsche 944 on trade, and
ooh,
a little bit later on, a 528E, E28 on trade. And I went, hey, I'd like to drive those. Can I take them around the block? And I drove them, and they went, oh, now I get it. Because before that, I was more of a, you read the performance numbers in Road and Track magazine, you go, they don't have great numbers. What's this 2002 thing all about?
Right.
When a Mustang GT does, more. And I didn't quite understand at that time what the difference was. And after driving those two cars, even though it was a 528E, the ETA engine version, it wasn't exactly the most dynamic, but high torque, but it's just the refinement of it all and the feeling that you got driving it, that you were in control and connected, that really got me thinking, all right, maybe I need to look outside of BMW.
So which one spoke to you more, the 944 or the 528E, or was it hard to decide which one?
They spoke to me for different reasons, I would say. The 944, certainly for the dynamics of it. For the 528, just the overall refinement of the car and how it did everything well without being overtly sporty. And anyway, so that started things going, and I was driving a Merkur. Whenever I could have a Merkur as a company car, I would. In fact, I ended up buying one when I no longer had a company car. When I came back to headquarters, I bought one. And I started thinking, I'm in service engineering. I wanted to branch out. And at Ford in those days, if you started on the service side of things, you were basically a service person. And if you wanted to go into the sales side or the product planning side or anything, you had to start again. So you had to go through their stream, and I wasn't prepared to do that. So I needed to look outside. And, my boss had been in his job for 25 years. His boss had been in his job for 30 years. So I figured there wasn't a lot of room for advancement. I learned a lot at Ford, but I decided, okay, it's time to go. I had several interviews at Jaguar Canada, believe it or not.
Can we say that right? Because Clarkson will say Jaguar.
Jaguar. Well, Canadians, we say Jaguar.
Okay.
And so I thought there's a good chance that I'll get this job. Meanwhile, I had written to BMW North America, and my resume had been passed on to BMW Canada. Right. And I got a call from the service manager at the time. And he said, hey, Tom, I have no job right now, but do you want to have lunch? And I went, sure, I'll come and have lunch with you. And so I had lunch with him, and he said, great, nice to meet you. And that was it. And meanwhile, the Jag thing was progressing. And luckily, I didn't get the job at Jag, which was great, because Jaguar very shortly thereafter was purchased by Ford. So I would have been right back
where you started.
Right back. Just when you think you're out. Yeah.
Pull you back in.
Exactly. So, a week later, Salim Muir, ultimately my manager at BMW, called me up and says, we have a job in technical training. would you be interested? And I went, absolutely, color me there. And I started with BMW shortly afterwards, and the rest is history.
You progressed through the ranks, basically.
Yeah, so I started with BMW right after E32 and E34 had been launched, and they were massively technological changes for the industry. And it was difficult getting technicians to this next level of having computerized processing in circuits like windows and locks and things.
Right.
And so that was interesting, and it was a big step for me learning, but in comparison to where I previously was employed, servicing in the cars was really well thought through right from the beginning, and so it was a pleasure working on these cars and teaching techs how to do them. The first cars I had to learn from scratch were the E31 and E34 M5, and so
Very
I
nice.
did all the training on the
So
E31.
coincidentally, the first BMW I ever drove was
Yeah.
the E31 850 CSI out of
Perfect.
college. It was my boss's car.
Nice.
So I'm driving the Honda Civic,
Yeah.
manual transmission. I jump into a V12 with a manual, and the only advice he had for me was stop driving it like a four-cylinder car. I was like, well, that's all I'm used to.
Yep.
And then
Yeah.
that thing was amazing.
Well, I'll give you an instance that I knew I was in the right place when I was in my previous employer. I had a manual car, and I was shifting close to red line with my boss in the car. And he goes, why are you shifting so high? It's like, it's below the red line. He goes,
Right.
no, you shouldn't be doing that. And then I moved to BMW, and my boss takes me for lunch on my first day. And he had a 535 IS E28, silver,
Yeah.
black interior. Remember, like it was yesterday. We leave the office. He goes through 3 gears at red line, and there was a very sharp, a bit of a right, and then a very sharp left. And he goes through the left sideways,
As you do.
as you do. And I went, I'm in the right spot. So, and from there, I progressed through the company.
Right. So obviously you're heavily involved with the motorsport part of BMW.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
That came much later, actually. So, I spent 10 years at BMW Canada. I did product strategy. I was technical manager, product strategy. Then I went into PR side.
Right.
And then I switched to the motorcycle side. And I spent a couple of years on the motorcycle side running the division in Canada. And that was my ticket into the US. I came to the US as after sales manager for motorcycles.
Yeah.
And was there for 3 years almost, and then ran the motorcycle division in the US for a couple of years. In that early part, motorsport wasn't part of it at all. I was aware of it. I followed it, but I never saw the cars, never saw them run. And it really was in 2008 when we did the first public unveiling of the E92 M3 GT,
Right.
GT2 at the time, at the Chicago Auto Show, that I was involved with motorsport. So, and then from there, it's been...
So that was like the gateway drug.
Yeah, gateway drug, yeah. And it's interesting because, I came into it at E92 era, so 2008, but then I had to go back and learn the history of it all. And that's always fun. I've always enjoyed doing that.
And obviously it fits into your new role because
It certainly fits into my new role.
you're
Exactly.
basically like a history buff, if you will, for motorsport. So if you guys are at Legends, Tom is a constant here, and you have a paddock tour of the historic race cars, and the encyclopedic knowledge that he possesses astounding.
Well, to a certain point. My RAM memory is full, so for every new thing I put in, something drops out, and it happens in life.
Yep.
And I've reached that point. So the knowledge I have is good, but there's a lot of things I've forgotten too.
Right. But you're also involved with Petersen Museum stuff as well. So there's lots of things that BMW has, I don't want to say donate, but put on display at Petersen.
Yeah.
The one I remember fondly was the electric motor stuff. So you
Yes.
had the E1 or E2?
E2 was
E2. That was a pretty impressive one. I mean, you had to do some work to make the grill whole again.
Yeah. When you work for a smaller company, and now BMW is a pretty large company, but when I first started, and sometimes you just have to do what needs to be done, right? So the E2 is quite an old design model, really. It's not a real car, it's a design model.
Right.
And it'd been sitting in a warehouse for 20 years. And the glue that held the little grill slats in had failed. And so all the slats had fallen off and gotten lost. Some of them had gotten lost. So it needed to be repaired before it went into Petersen. And so just before the car was put on the truck in Spartanburg, I had my colleague break the rest of them off. So I had some templates, and then I laid them out and made new ones. Turns out that every slat was slightly different. Yeah. Not consistently different either, which is bizarre.
Very un-German.
Very un-German. Well, the car was built in California, so...
But
it's very un-BMW, let's put it that way. So I made new slats. I made a whole bunch of new ones and extras, and got them all the right shape and everything, so they were all consistent. And then flew out to LA, went into the workshop of the Petersen, and spent a couple hours applying them. And there you go.
Yeah,
one of the things you got to do.
And now currently on display is the 50 years of the 3 Series.
Right.
So that's sort of like a rotating exhibit. Some cars have entered and left already.
It's a rotating exhibit, yeah, and it's somewhat morphed into 40 years of M3, if you like. Most of the cars in there are M3s or M4s. We still have an E21 in there, but yeah, and we have a cruising coming up, and we're going to put in a special car.
Let's really get to that. So
yes,
it's May 23rd.
Yep.
CCA sent out some information, so if you're watching this, there might be some tickets available for the VIP tour, which Tom will need.
Yes.
Vault. But there's going to be something special unveiled there. So it's unique to the U.S. market. That's all I'm going to say.
That's right.
You should probably be able to figure this out on your own, given what's
Check for
talked about.
teasers next week sometime, or in the weeks leading up to it.
Right.
If you know, you'll know.
Yes. And the other thing that you've been doing lately is with Steve Saxton. So you've got a video series going on. So under the cover. So I think we had 5 videos now so far.
I think so, yeah, 5.
It's a really good series.
Thanks.
Everyone out there should watch it. I suspect that's part of a build up to Steve's next book series. I was looking at the M, or maybe not quite there.
It's interesting as we've done these sort of things, and I've done some videos for the Petersen as well,
right,
where they really do resonate with people. The historic cars seem to really work in social media.
Sure.
So as we do them, we get lots of hits. So our marketing side wanted to do a little bit more with the classic side of things, and there's not a lot of money to go around, so they do it when they can fit it in with some new car stuff they have to do. And we did a still shoot a couple of years ago, and those photos went out and they did really well.
Right.
So they decided, okay, let's do a video shoot. And so these 5 videos were done with me and Steve Saxton. It's interesting because Steve, now having written the book on design, BMW design, and having so much access to the design department of BMW, he has way more access than I've ever had, or that most designers have had. So
and you work for the company.
And I work for the company, but it's in a part of the company that is not accessible to most people. And so he's seen design sketches that none of us know about. And he was able to publish some in the books. So the books are really, really good. And so to be able to have him from the design side and then me from the historical perspective and the technical side together,
it's a good mix.
It seems to work, yeah.
But you've also been involved with CCA, so obviously you're a member.
Yep.
You've also made a donation to the current exhibit that's, I think, opening very soon.
Right.
You donated your E92 M3.
I did.
In Melbourne Red, I think, is that right?
Melbourne Red, yep.
You've done a lot of work on yourself. So if you want to support CCA, go out to the foundation, see these it's the M3 history.
Right.
One of Tom's cars is part of that exhibit.
Yeah. Some of the cars from our collection are in there, as well as my personal car. I missed my car, but it's for a good cause. But yes, BMW North America is a sponsor through BMW M.
Right.
And the M3 is really an icon of BMW brand. There's no doubt about it. Icon of the industry, really. And so being able to celebrate 40 years of these wonderful cars is great. And I've seen a few of the cars in the exhibit. It's going to be a good one. My car is nothing compared to what's there. I mean,
I know. Morris said that made a donation for a car, which is one of 3 in the U.S. So if you want to see one, go see it first.
Yeah, there's some special cars for sure.
Right. I remembered what I was going to talk about. So the videos that you're doing with Steve, is there a warehouse for your BMW USA Classic collection? Is there plans to sort of like make that open like BMW Classic in Germany?
No, there isn't, unfortunately. We did some videos in there in the warehouse with Steve. You'll see some videos from the Petersen as well of the warehouse or within the warehouse.
Right.
But no, the location remains undisclosed. I
was trying to figure out where it was because you take the cars out and you're at the Performance Center in South Carolina. I'm not sure.
It's near the plant. It's near the plant, but that's it. No, it's our offstage area, and it's where we can store cars that we aren't on display, aren't somewhere around the world, and it's also a place where we store some of our prototypes. So we can't open it to the public, unfortunately.
It's unfortunate, but we get to see it at the Petersen Foundation Museum.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot around there, and we're pretty generous at letting the cars out into various displays. I mean, the Petersen exhibit is one. Both the Petersen exhibits that we've done, the alternating current exhibit that you talked about, E2, as well as the current 50 years of 3 Series. Various concours events around the country, we bring cars out for those. So the cars are out there. When they're not out there, they're sleeping and resting. And then when the next anniversary comes out, we prep them and we bring them out for you guys.
Wrap up,
yep.
You get to drive a lot of historical race cars.
Yes.
I'm not going to ask you for your favorite, because that's going to be hard. Like the top 3, like you love to drive those 3 race cars.
Pretty easy, actually.
Okay.
M8, GTLM, surprisingly, but...
Is that actually easy to drive?
No, it's challenging. Easy on an early level, very challenging on a higher level. So it's a car that keeps challenging you as you
build up to it.
As you build up. E92 M3, and after that, I would say that they're all moderns. Z4. The older historics, I enjoy driving very much. I'm more concerned about them because they're breakable, and they're breakable in more ways.
Right.
And there are fewer parts. So when I drive a CSL, and I love the CSL, but I'm always concerned about damage.
Well, something breaks.
Yeah, something breaking and doing some damage to the car. Whereas E92, M8, and Z4, you can bounce over curbs with those things. Nothing bothers them. They're solid race cars, and they're modern, so they're really fast and difficult to drive, and it's been fun building the skills up to that level.
Rewarding to drive.
Which one?
Rewarding to drive.
Very rewarding to drive, yeah. One car I did mention, but it's been an absolute thrill and just an honor to drive, is the McLaren F1 GTR.
Oh, yeah.
That one, I drive it 5/10 of what I'd like to, just because of the value and the cost of parts for it. But it's a wonderful car to drive. Sounds amazing, and it drives like a big go-kart.
It's fun.
I love it.
I'm so glad you let me sit in it in Minneapolis. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. So, Tom, I want to take up more of your time, but thank you so much for your time
You're welcome.
and your support of CCA.
You're welcome. I'm glad you guys, we do it for the fans. We do it for the clubs. So the more interaction we get, the more we want to do.
Right, perfect. Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome.